I'm Conan O'Brien. Thanks for coming. Guys, my name's actually Gareth Walton, but yeah, we're talking about Conan O'Brien's, last episode on his show, his third, alteration, his third show, I guess you could say. Thankfully, he is going to be making an appearance, doing a fourth show on HBO apparently, but I want to talk about what Conan O'Brien meant to me as a fan, right? Now, let me just show you. I've got all these links open for you guys right now. I want to talk about, Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, David Letterman, and the Writers Guild of America strike. If you guys remember, there was this huge strike that happened, between 2007 and 2008 for like a 3-month period, something like that. And I want to talk about the war of late night. Now, as a kid growing up, I absolutely loved watching Conan O'Brien on his very first TV show, Late Night with Conan O'Brien, I'm pretty sure it was. Just double check that one. Yeah, Late Night with Conan O'Brien, that's the one there. And, watching the late night wars happen on my TV screens every night was, absolutely crazy. And it was, look, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Jay Leno basically had, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, right? Okay. And he said he was going to give it up and give Conan O'Brien the show, right? So Conan O'Brien got the Tonight Show, and he only ended up having it for about a year or less than that kind of thing, right? And then basically Conan took it back. Jay took it back from Conan, I should say. And, there was all these, backwards and forwards with Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, David Letterman. Everyone was just bagging at each other, and David was kind of on Conan's side. Pretty much everyone was on Conan's side. It was like the best time to watch late night television. It was that time period when all the shit went down, right? When, Jay Leno basically took back the show from Conan O'Brien. In 2010 or something like that, 2009, 2010. And, it would have sucked for Conan O'Brien back then. It would have been absolutely traumatic for him and his team and his family because, Conan basically left New York City from his late night show to move to Los Angeles, right? For the what are we talking about here? For the Tonight Show. And, Jay wanted it back. For whatever reason, ratings or whatever it was, Jay wanted it back, and Jay was like in everyone's bad books. Everyone's bad books. Like, I loved Jay. I loved watching Jay every night, but he gave the show to Conan. It was Conan's show now. And now Jay Leno wanted it back, and it just didn't seem right. Now, there's this book called The War of Late Night. And look, I've never read this book, but after doing the research for this video, I think I'm going to buy this book now because I would really like to know, the ins and outs of what actually happened during that time period when, there was this huge war. Wow. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Look, guys, my name is Gareth Walton. We make daily videos on this channel talking about absolutely everything every single day. Channel 2, but of course, we are on Channel 1 where we do travel vlogs every now and then. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Tallboy Gareth. It's not working for some reason. Channel 3 is not working, but we've got the pillows to prove it. So look, as a kid, it was my dream job to have some sort of, show like Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, David Letterman. They were my top 3, late night show hosts, talk show hosts back in the day. I even used to watch a bit of Rove McManus, which is an Australian comedic, talk show host. Doesn't do the show anymore, but he used to do, Rove Tonight, Rove Live, or whatever it was called. But, my main 3, Letterman, O'Brien, and Leno. And thankfully, I've actually got to see an episode of Conan O'Brien when he was actually in New York City. I think Drew Barrymore was on the show. This must have been about 15 years now, maybe longer, honestly. And I've actually seen a live taping of Jay Leno when Sarah Palin's daughter was on the show. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But I wanted to talk about this, and blank screen there for some reason. Just ignore that, guys. Conan O'Brien meant a lot to all of us, and he really got hard done by. It really was a shitty situation, but for the viewers, it was comedy gold. It really was comedy gold. So what are we talking about here? Now, There's this scene from The Joker. Now, we're not going to pretend to kill any late night show hosts tonight, but there was this one really cool scene, not the shooting, but there was this one really cool scene in that movie where he kind of fantasizes about being on Murray Tonight, that show, right? And I really got that. I was like, you know, he was doing the whole thing and you're like, hey everybody, you know, kind of thing, like, hey, you know, hey everybody to the crowd. I really, really felt that when I saw that scene in The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. Like, he really thought in his mind that he was actually a guest on the show. And eventually, at some point, he did become a guest, obviously, and then he killed him. I can't remember his name. But, you know, but forgetting about the killing bit, I really understood that when he was like, when he thought he was loved and he wanted to be a part of the show. I thought that was really, really cool. But Conan O'Brien meant a lot to me, and you know, getting his vibe and getting Jay Leno's vibe and David Letterman's vibe as a kid meant a lot to me. It was like one of those things, you turn the TV on at night and, you know, there he is. They're all on TV together. And it was such a fun time in my life, you know, every night kind of thing, for years and years and years, watching all those TV shows. And it was a shame what they did to Conan back in the day. It really was. So basically, Conan had Late Night with Conan O'Brien from 1993 to 2009. Then he had The Tonight Show from 2009 to 2010. And then he had Conan on TBS. Is that right? TBS? For 2010 to 2021. Now, of course, he's going to HBO. So hopefully that's a success for him. But Jay Leno, you know, had The Tonight Show from 1992 to 2014. And then he had The Jay Leno Show. And then he got The Tonight Show again. So, interesting, right? Going back to David Letterman, you know, what an absolute legend. We've all seen him, right? How can you go wrong with him? So, what did I wanted to show? That's right, so the Writers Guild of America strike. Do you guys remember this? This was an amazing point in historic, you know, TV moment, right? When, how long did it go for? From November 5th, 2007 to February 12th, 2008. So for 3 months and 8 days, the writers basically went on strike. And if you were like me, I was watching these talk shows, you know, that period, well before that, and well after that too. I don't watch these shows, unfortunately, as much as I used to. Not nearly as much anymore. I wish I could, but I don't. But when the writers went on strike, those shows had to go out. They went, right? Because no one could write the jokes anymore. And at some point, Conan came back with his staff, minus the writers, and they started making these shows every day. And they were so funny, even though they didn't have the professional writers on the team. And it was honestly comedy gold. Like, we all knew that these shows would be not as good. But they ended up being absolutely fantastic. Please tell me someone's watching this video that you've seen at some of these shows and you know what I'm talking about. Like, they were comedy gold. And it was so brave of them to go on TV, you know, with these weird jokes that they came up with. Obviously, once again, their professional writers were not writing anything for them. So they just came up with jokes for themselves and they just did funny skits. And it ended up being really, really good to watch. Just like when Conan was done dirty and Jay Leno took the show back. Like, that whole period where all the shows were bagging at each other and everyone was talking about everyone. And I think Oprah Winfrey ended up getting Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno, or Jay Leno and David Letterman on the show. Or there was some sort of skit regarding the halftime football show. Do you remember that? I can't quite remember, but when it happened, like when Jay Leno and Conan, or Jay Leno and David Letterman did a thing together, the late night show wars went crazy. Do you remember that? It was just, I can't quite remember properly, but it's just something I remember a little bit. But anyway, going back to what we're talking about, did you see Homer Simpson conducts Conan's TBS exit interview? Have you seen this one? Obviously, I can't show you, but if you remember, right, Conan used to be a writer for The Simpsons. And one of the funny things that was actually said on this little skit was Homer was like, yeah, I've had many, many jobs in my career. One of them was a stupid job doing a monorail, driving a monorail. And then Conan was like, I didn't think it was stupid. Obviously, because Conan was one of the writers for that episode. Monorail, monorail, monorail. You remember that, right? Does anyone remember that? Please, someone tell me that they remember that, right? What are we going to talk here? Talk about my phone. Okay. Thanks, Gareth. Thanks, Gareth, for reminding me. One of the last things that Conan said on this last late night show episode was Lisa Kudrow from Friends helped him become a late night show host. He apparently said if it wasn't for Lisa Kudrow, he wouldn't have a show. He wouldn't have a show. Wow, right? And one of the last things he said, which really struck me, was it was the last thing he said before he closed out the show, and he really got a little emotional as he said it, and it was really like, wow, I love you, Conan. You know, it was like one of them moments, right? He said, it's not easy to do, but try and do what you love with people you love. And if you can manage that, it's the definition of heaven on earth. You know, I swear to God, it really is. He got a little emotional and then thank you for watching and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, Conan, a comedic legend, the way he does these little things, you know, he does the string dance, right? The nipple, you know, what an absolute legend. So Conan, you're never going to watch this video, but if you did, mate, thanks for helping people like me get through life in a much more fun way. You know, you and people like you know, Jay Leno, David Letterman, obviously the newer generation now, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, whoever the hell else is there, I don't know. You guys are the opposite of depression. You know, you really are. And you inspired me to want to do something like this in my studio and have a daily show. Like, I've been making daily videos since January 1st, 2021, right? And I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. This is my thing now, channel 2, right? Obviously channel 1 as well. But yeah, you know, it's inspiration like Conan O'Brien that got me to where I am now, and hopefully to an even greater successful level somewhere down the track, right? So thank you, Conan. Thank you, Jay, and thank you, David Letterman, for being who you are and doing what you do. We love you. Best of success to Conan in his next HBO show. If you guys like this, we are on two different YouTube channels. Hip hip hooray! Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, @TallBoyGareth. I've been Tall. My name's Gareth, and look, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you like the video. Give us a like, subscribe, ring the bell. It gives us support. See ya!